What's up, friends? This is another video. Me as Terran, and I'm going against a Zerg. In this video, I'm basically showing you guys more of this kind of in response kind of strategy, but at the same time having initiative. Okay, because if you're all you are is all about is initiative, then they're going to be responsive to you and you're going to lose. But if you initiate and cause them to respond to you, and then you respond to their response, all in that order, and you keep it going through the whole game, eventually you should win. Okay, now what I've discovered recently is Bruce Lee actually uses this approach quite a lot, and in a lot of what he does. So without further ado, I guess you say, I'm going to go ahead and start casting this one. That's not necessarily a cast, it's more just kind of going over. But here we go. So here we go. So the same old. I U2 and announce my race. Zoom in and camera pan, whatever. This is kind of a long one too, so I don't want to spend too much time. But I'm not very good at Terran, by the way, just to let you guys know. But I'm good enough to know what I should and shouldn't do. It's just that I don't do it fast enough. And that's gonna all change. So in that aspect, I actually had to go and figure out how to halt construction. I know you can do that. I just had to go and click the button and actually go down and read. So in that little situation right there, I actually did all that, and that was just me responding, but I didn't know how. I didn't know what the button was. I didn't want to cancel the building. I had to start it over, the whole 9 yards. So I took a few damage there, but still made it. So I seen those 3 eggs, and I assumed, whoa, what the? I assumed it's Zerglings, yeah. Basically what happened there. So barracks, I have gas, and factory. So 211 is what it should go to. Yeah, see 211. Like I said, I've been favoring 211 very hard. People do 111, but I don't think it's enough. It gives them too much availability to respond properly, and I just don't want them to respond properly. I think I end up waiting for a while to actually move out, and there goes my command center. And these guys that I'm playing are not noobs, by the way. So we're going, just constantly building up. And I understand he's off 2 base, but it doesn't matter because I have mules, and as long as I have a command center, I'm fine. So here comes the army going out. I see no third, so I'm like, alright, cool. I'm in better condition. Small wall. Supply blocked, of course. I go out and scout with those. I end up leaving them stupidly. But again, I'm not very experienced, and I'm getting there. I was like, no, I tried to save him, couldn't make it. And I'm working on the hotkeys too, but I'm getting down everything else before I work on hotkeys. So we're going. Just kind of looking around the map, Not really focus on much. The income's going down, the buildings are going, everything's going fine, scanning. Right here, I catch him off guard because he's not expecting an army. And even if he was, he probably does not have the composition to deal with it, because I have Vikings, I have Marauders, I have Hellions, I have all kinds of stuff just in this army, so there's no direct response. You can't just be like, oh, Banelings and win, because I have a lot of stuff for everything. And that's basically how I trickle things in, and that's what I do. So I can do these kind of moves because there's no direct response. You can get, what are they called, roaches, but it's not going to matter too much because I have Marauders. And you can get Hydras, but it's not going to matter too much because I have Stim and all that jazz. So he went Infestors, right? That's a good move, right? And watch what I do. I run the Marauders up. I Stim only the Marauders and I run them up. He can't engage the Marauders without anything else. And I want him to. He can't do that, and I'm like, that's fine, go for it. And look what I'm doing. Lol. And, so now what does he have left? a few of everything, and I have a lot still. You know, and this is basically me giving him not much to respond to. So now here comes a siege tank. You know, and I'm just poking around. I'm just running around doing stuff, picking things off. The Vikings are taking care of the air. My dropship rallied there, but that's completely fine because he's a Zerg. He can throw away units like that and be fine. Catches the Thor. I just leave the Thor because I want him to keep it busy while I can keep his main building. And more units show up, and that's the power of Terran right there. And you know, you keep up that momentum. Here, I come back and just killing off bases right now. I'm not going for the throat. You know, not to the point where like I'm going to throw away everything, but after a certain point, I will get to that point because I know he doesn't have much, whereas I do. You know, so I'm going to just start throwing things away essentially because I can keep up the production and whatever, you know, whatever it is that I need, I can do it. So he's running away. Here, I end up losing a lot more than I should. Like the game should be over at this point, but because of my terrible mechanics, it wasn't exactly as flawless as it could have been. So I survived that very well. Could have been better. Like I should have just kept the Hellions back, to be honest. And then all kinds of stuff. Like right there, the Hellions would have been nice. I was reviewing this replay not too long ago, and then decided to go ahead and cast them. I basically I realized that Hellions require a tech in order to transform. Here, I wanted to do that. I couldn't for some reason. So I was like, what the heck? So I actually went back and looked in the replay, and I found out it's an upgrade you need to get in order to make Hellions later. So yeah, that's kind of what happened there. Or else I would have had Hellions, or Helibats is what they're called. So here I'm just trying to pick off any of the casters that I can. And he responds, he saves, you know, a lot of stuff. I'm like, dang, that's fine. And I run away with what I can. So again, he's no noob. He lost a lot of bases, and I have no bases. But that's, you know, and here I go with 3 bases because I have the freaking, I'm Terran, I can do that, you know. As long as I have mules, I'm fine. And as long as I have some production, and as long as I have units and I'm attacking, I'm completely fine. And that's like the thing that a lot of people do not do, and they just sit there and they tech and tech and tech and tech, but they don't realize that while you're teching, they're teching. So indeed, any advantage you're going for, they're getting ready for it. You know what I mean? So if you just constantly keep them on their toes, you'll eventually gain an advantage because they're not going to be able to predict everything you're doing. You know, you have momentum. You know, they can have momentum in defense, but then that's when it switches over to you being on defense. You know, they're never going to have momentous defense while being on the defensive, or while staying in defense. If they gain any leverage as a defense, they become the offense. And if they don't, you have a billion bases and they don't, which is going on right here. But he turns it around. Like I said, he's not no noob. But as you can see, I have Thors now. Probably no upgrades. I'm not too sure. No upgrades. But here's the thing that I don't understand. A lot of people don't get it. 612 doesn't seem like a lot, but it's still a lot more than a Marine, right? Because like I'm upgraded with 8. You know, if I upgraded once, it's a lot of damage. But this is a lot of freaking damage already. And then you have this, 30 damage. You don't need to upgrade that. You know what I mean? It's a lot of damage. It's 2 attacks, so it's 30, 60. 30, 60. Just mix that in. It's doing a lot of freaking damage. And then, what is it called? People complain about Colossi. These guys are basically the Colossi versus the air. Or is it? I think these. One of these attacks explodes. And it hits a bunch of air units. And then this is, I don't know. This can go either way. I haven't thought about it, but I'm just going to bring it up. Like, they demolish air. Is basically what I'm getting at. And the reason why I built them is because of the banelings. And siege tanks are fine and dandy, but they're not mobile, and I don't like that. But I eventually use siege tanks later. It's just right now they're not vital for my, or not vital, but they're not going to help me doing. They're not going to help me do what I'm trying to do, and that's basically be momentous and aggression. I can't talk. I'm just trying to keep up a movement and keep being offensive right now, but staying mobile. You know what I mean? So he's coming around. I botched this attack pretty good, I think. Save all my Marines. I see him stop, and then look at all my Marines. Are everything else. I'm like, whatever. You know, look at the Thors. They're just going to work, killing all of the freaking stuff, just everything. My attack is eventually cleaned up. I do a lot of damage. He lost everything there, by the way. And I'm like, oh, damn, I lost ground. Huh. So what do? I just look at all these units that he has. Unfortunately for him, he does not attack here. Which, if he did, I don't think he could have done much still. But he's brought up into the world where you want to have an army. Whereas if he attacked, he probably would have just done a lot of damage to me right there. He could have killed me right there, to be honest. But even pros don't freaking go with... point this out real quick. Because a lot of people are going to see that and be like, oh, if you attacked, you would have lost. But pros do this all the time. Commentators actually point this out, like, just go, just go. He doesn't know that he can just go in and win. Just go to S. This happens. You know, and everybody follows suit. So everybody follows suit and makes the same damn mistakes. Whereas you get me, I take chances. You know, I take risks. And they don't always pay off, but I always make them worth it. You know what I mean? So I have 2 bases out there right now. Right, I have income off of this base that's randomly out there, and you can say, "Oh, well, it's hidden away," and you know, blah blah blah. You can say whatever the heck you want. It's not going to matter here because the fact is, I am taking a risk, and I openly acknowledge that, and I'm ready to defend it. You know what I mean? I'm just not just like, "Oh, oops," you know. I'm ready to go. So I handle that very well. My units absorb all of that. So here, focus fire is very nice. I don't think I do it much, but I'm just pointing it out that you want to do that kind of stuff, and I'm just keeping these guys available for whatever. Because if banelings show up, I want them to stop attacking the roaches, you know. So I'm checking up there constantly. Send the SCV to go and kill that stuff off. So he's constantly scouting me. He's constantly checking, you know. You need this. You need to know this stuff, but against a Terran, it's very hard to really know because everything they do attacks up. Clearing creep, some people say don't do that. I say fuck yeah, do that. If you have any outside command centers, always mule those. Never mule the ones at home, because that's at home, that's your solid income that can't be stopped. Whereas out there, that can be stopped. So you want to take every damn dime you possibly can from those while you can. So I'm setting up a front, just constantly building up here. He's checking, trying to kill off the widow mines. Good hit for him here. Draws the fire. Right here, I mess up really bad, because I see this, and I'm like, all right, I gotta stop that. I'm like, all right, cool. I catch this, and he's trying to do this around, and then guess what I go back home to? I'm like, oh god, and there's like nothing left. By the time I got there, it was over. I'm like, damn, clean me up. And if I was there, I could have done this. And I was like, oh shit. Just leave. But at home, just constantly, you know, these aren't hotkeys for some reason, or else they'd be producing too. But that's what I'm checking. I'm constantly checking, making sure the hotkeys are going. I'm like, alright, since you're not building anything anyways, just go ahead and give me some tech. And they're still keeping them slowed down. The Terran does not want to be aggressive, or the Terran. The Zerg does not want to be aggressive at this point because of those widow mines. He has to break those first. Once he breaks those, then he can move forward. He doesn't want to give things for free. You know, and even for me, I get held up by those a lot because they're really good. They just kill stuff. You know, as a Protoss player, to lose like a stalker for just a single widow mine is really bad. So as a Zerg, it's not so bad. But right here, I have the best control ever. Look at this. Oh yeah, oh yeah. But the point is, I have a freaking outstanding army. Like, there's the siege tanks, the Marauders, the Thors, a few Marines. You know, and at some point, I actually start massing up Marines again. But the point is, I'm mixing it up, you know, and I'm eventually getting to the Marines. But they're not just Marines. Because a lot of people just make Marines. So there's him trying to move out, but like I said, the Widow Mines. He's checking around. At this point, he realizes how many bases I had. It was really close, but he didn't realize I had the base on the bottom. So now he sees it. And I move out with my Marauders. And this is really good control, I think, for me. And I couldn't move at that point, so I was just like, fuck it, commit, go. And GG. Yeah, he stopped the income over there, but up here I'm constantly attacking, and I have all this still alive, you know. And then the Thors, they're all doing their thing. I do get an upgrade eventually, you know. And again, it's not very much. You gain 3 damage, and it's like, oh yeah, that's 3 damage is solid, but it's not to the point where you don't want to include these things because they're not 3/3. That's all I'm saying. Like 3 damage is good, but having 30 damage instead of not having that 30 damage is bad. That's how I see it. And yeah, he did work down here, but again, so now this is done. So now I can go and drop all my mules over here, you know. And I had a lot of SCVs there, and like the patches are all cleared out here, but that doesn't really matter too much. So this is everyone. I stopped this early. I stopped this early. He grabbed this one. He mined this one out. Oh, he's almost mining that one out. But yeah, so there's the map. There's the match. And it's basically bio, but I trickle in mech, you know. And then there's the air, of course. I had Vikings. I had a lot of freaking medevacs. I think I was trying to make more Vikings. But yeah, and they're very pivotal. I can't think of the word. They can either go in the air or on the ground, essentially. And it's very good. And then you have the siege tanks stopping any kind of back attacks. And the Widow Mines, of course, and whatever. You know, so very solid play. I liked it. Again, I started getting Marines later. But as it was, I knew these are very necessary. You know, and then mixing in other units is very necessary. And I don't have much production, but I have enough where the point is I can keep attacking and keep expanding. And I don't need 50 of each building because I want to remake my army instantly and then go again. I don't like to play that whole rock, paper, scissors game. I like to play constant combat, constant fighting, constant aggression. You know, and a lot of pro metagames or whatever, and a lot of people copy the metagames and think that's the only way to play. They all play this paper, rock, scissors style. Whereas me, I'm just constantly marching. I'm always on the march. You know, and if I'm not pushing, I'm expanding and then pushing. You know, but a lot of these pros, they just expand, then make army, then expand, and then push. And then remake army, then push. Remake army, then push. Remake army, then push. And I'm like, okay, that's where I get the whole paper, rock, scissors things, because that's all they freaking do. Whereas me, while everything is going off, I don't know, I can go on this forever. But anyways, that's the replay. I hope I got my point through. If not, let me know, and I will upload another one possibly if I can get another match that really, you know, shows what I'm talking about. But as is, I'm very inconsistent with how I play and my hours and, you know, what I'm feeling like. But anyways, take it easy, have a good one, peace out, and peace.